For the quadratic equation, state the axis of symmetry, vertex, and any intercepts, and then graph the equation. So the first thing we need to do is identify what is A, B, and C. We know that A is 1, we know that B is -4, and we know the value of C is -5. Okay, so when we look at A equals 1, we can see it's greater than 0, which tells us that our parabola is going to open up. Number 2, let's find the coordinates of the vertex. Well, h is equal to -b divided by 2a, which is negative times -4 over 2 times 1. Well, that becomes +4 divided by 2, which gives us 2. And then finding k, we want to find f of 2, where 2 is the input on the function. So we have 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5, which gives us 4 minus 8 minus 5, which gives us -9. So now we can determine what the vertex is, and that vertex is 2, -9. And so what that tells us is the value of the x-coordinate, x equals 2, is the axis of symmetry. And we know that this is going to have a minimum value at -9. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to figure out what is the X-intercepts and what are the Y-intercepts. So we want to find the X-intercepts, we're going to let y equal 0. So using the form, standard form, a times x minus h squared plus k, we're going to set that equal to 0. So we know the value of a is 1. This is x minus h, and we know that h is 2 squared, and we know that k is -9, and we're going to set that equal to 0, and we're going to solve for x. So we have x minus 2 squared, and then we're going to add 9 to both sides. We're going to take the square root of both sides, which gives us plus or minus the square root of 9. And so we end up getting x minus 2, which is equal to plus or minus 3. And so now x is going to equal 2 plus or minus 3. So if we take 2 and then we subtract 3, then we get -1, 0 as one of our x-intercepts. And if we take 2 and add 3, then we know that 5, 0 is going to be the other x-intercept. Okay, now we need to determine what is the y-intercept. And to find the y-intercept, we have to let x equal 0. So y is going to equal 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 5. So now we know y is going to equal -5, which tells us that the y-intercept is 0, -5. Okay, so now let's go ahead and graph this. So now that we can graph this, we can determine that the vertex is located at 2 and then -9. So there is our vertex at 2, -9. And then we have our x and y intercepts. We have an x-intercept at -1, 0. We also have another x-intercept at 5, 0. And we also have a y-intercept at 0, -5. Okay, and then we also know that we also have a axis of symmetry at x is equal to 2. So let's go ahead and draw that. So at x is equal to 2, we know that we have an axis of symmetry. And so now the next thing is to then just connect our points to create our parabola. And so we know it goes through the y-intercept, and then the x-intercept, and then there's our graph. Okay, now let's just verify this on Desmos. Okay, so we know that the function is x squared minus 4x, and that's minus 5. So let's just verify our points. We know that the vertex is at 2, -9. We have a y-intercept at 0, -5. We also have an x-intercept at -1, 0. Another one at 5, 0. And then we also know that the axis of symmetry is x is equal to 2. And therefore there is our parabola.